In Kenya, smallholder farmers and people living in rural areas have limited information on support that county governments must provide for them with reference to agriculture, which is a source of income for many. For farmers like Mary, a soybean farmer from Busia County who has grown the crop for over 6 years, it's only recently that she has received training about good agronomic practices and not from the county government.
Ukulima nikianza, nilienda tu nikanunua kwa soko mbegu. Nikakuja nikapanda. Wakati nilipanda tu ndani ya mahindi na nikatoa kidogo. Wakati ule nikianza niliweka tu kwa shamba yote, lakini kwa mahindi tu weka tu moja mbili hivyo. Sasa wakati nilikutana naye akanieleza ninafaa nikitaka nijaribu vizuri niipande peke yake bila chochote ndani ili niweze kuona kama nitafanikiwa.
This has created an opportunity for civil society organizations to lobby relevant institutions towards influencing policies that support these groups. The Civic Engagement Alliance is one such organization trailblazing in this space.
Civic Engagement Alliance is a program that has been funded by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs from the Netherlands, the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and its aim is meant to build the capacity of civil societies to be able to address issues that affect them in different contexts in different countries. So for the Kenya program, what we're trying to address are three main key things. Number one is to try to build civil society's capacity to be able to increase the political space and to champion for their shrinking civil space. That means they are able to address issues, they are able to raise their voice and to actually demand or request for issues to be addressed by the government. Number two is to try to build the capacity of smallholder farmers to be able to access nutritious foods within the Western Kenya region, which is the region where we are operating for this particular program. But number three is to build the capacity of smallholder farmers to be able to request and to demand for access to inputs, access to good markets, access to quality services from the county governments, so they can be able to produce the best products and they can be able to produce sustainably in the value chains that we work in.
Over and above these focus areas, the program is also lobbying for empowerment of small-scale producers to access markets which are geared towards building a more sustainable private sector in Western Kenya, covering Kisumu, Kakamega, Homa Bay and Busia counties. To achieve these ambitious plans, working with like-minded organizations for advocacy impact to be realized is critical. The organization has been working with the following partners. So far, several milestones have been achieved. To start with, Homa Bay County has increased their budget allocation in the agriculture sector from 5 to 7%.
Previously, farmers were pretty much practicing, should I say, primitive mechanisms or forms of farming. So when we got into this alliance, one of the key things was enabling our farmers to be able to access what is their right with regard to training, capacity building in terms of proper agronomic practices. And two, through this engagement, we've been able to engage our farmers in participating in public hearing, budgeting processes, county level planning for specifically agriculture concerns and issues. So through the engagement, our farmers have been able to, one, ask for post-harvest management interventions through the county. Another one has been a very important aspect of farming, which involves infrastructure. So our farmers have been able to lobby so that there are roads, markets, and access to also equipment and input to enable them do better farming.
This has seen value chain actors working on the sorghum, maize and soybean value chains receiving training which ranges from production, processing, marketing, but most importantly, increasing consumption of these highly nutritious foods by the local communities.
We normally work with 300 and these farmers initially they used to practice the old system of agriculture, or we can call it the primitive system. But when Undugu came, they advised us to start doing good agronomical practices. These like using the certified seeds for the farmers, going for good type of herbicides that could be used to prevent what is there like the striga. And the produce was just wow, because in one farm, like 1 acre, a farmer like this year, we are expecting that somebody would get about 18 bags. Initially, somebody could get like 3 to 4 or 5 bags maximum.
According to the 2014 Kenya Health Demographic Survey, Kakamega County had the highest stunted growth rate of 28%. This is very high despite abundance of food in the county. To address this, the county is working with the Anglican Development Services to turn the situation around.
We've been working together for a good number of months, especially when it comes to the issue of lobbying and then creating awareness for nutrition and food security issues in the county. So with them, they have supported us to come up with a rough draft of a nutrition action plan, purposely to address the issue of especially stunting among children under 5 and anemia among pregnant women. Those are key nutrition issues that are affecting health and nutrition status of most vulnerable group in our community. Those are children under 5 and pregnant mothers.
Every county has what we call flagship projects. This is where this is like the 4 big agenda for the president. Every county has its own agenda. And for Kakamega, their agenda was to address the bottlenecks in maize, in dairy, and in chicken. So when he came in through the dialogue forum, we've lobbied for inclusion of some of our value chains into the county flagship. Now, as we speak now in the county CID for Kakamega, we now have soya as a key flagship project. Now, when the county is planning their budget, they're able to include soya in terms maybe of the subsidy for the seeds, creating market for the product. Like currently what Kakamega is doing, they're initiating under Paranyakea what we call school feeding program. And obviously soya will find its route now into the school feeding program. By doing that, the farmer is benefiting by getting the market, and of course now the children, they're able to get the nutrition in terms of addressing the malnutrition by getting soya and its content and helping them in terms of growing up.
From these stakeholder engagements, it is evident that there is a great correlation between provision of extension services, farmer productivity, improved nutrition, and growth of the private sector. Farmers like Mary are now able to sell their produce to aggregators who are helping them through provision of extension services and market for their produce.
We started with this 48 farmers. And then the success of the 48 farmers, we had some little money that we put in for credit to other farmers. And we reached 1,200 farmers in short rains. And then when it came to long rains, we had up to 2,400 farmers. And then there's a difference in terms of production. Farmers who used to produce very little were able now to produce more, which means they require to be paid much more. So we also mobilize the buyers to make sure the time we are now accumulating these things at aggregation centers, those processes are available.
In a bid to build a more sustainable private sector, lobbying across value chains has led to increased productivity by farmers and growth of agro-processing firms such as Munami Agro-Processing.
ADS has helped us in the marketing area, that is creating the market linkage with the county. It has also helped us in the extension area with the facilitation that I have previously mentioned regarding soybean and sorghum. ADS has also been part of the team that has been helping us capacity build our potential here, and so we've received that technical support in terms of those manuals, procurement, HR and financial manuals. They have helped us develop those manuals. Among other supports, those review meetings that we've been having regularly with them, trying to review how the project is doing and where can we correct, where can we improve, such like activities.
On the other hand, the program has delved deeper into child labor issues within the agriculture sector, which had been rampant in Western Kenya. The Kenya Alliance for the Advancement of Children's Rights has been instrumental in this area.
In the past, we had so many children doing labor work. And you can see behind us, this sugarcane has been a major crop within this area, although it's now facing out. And there was a lot of sugarcane work where weeding was one, crushing it into karunguru, that molasses, and many other activities, farm activities, and even doing labor work on the farm. But through this group, where we started doing organic farming, we ventured into crops that would at least bring in some finances to assist the local people.
Before we even get to the county level, we have worked locally with the ward administrators, which have also formed part of the county structure, to be able to help them understand that issues of child labor needs to be addressed conclusively. And I think that the ward administrator in this area is very sensitive about issues of child labor, and we are working very closely. We have also worked closely with the Busia County Child Network, and we have worked with the Committee on Children and Education to be able to start developing some policy paper on child protection. We have walked the journey with them, and I think that bill is at the third stage. Unfortunately, the current government county government has not been able to pick it up. But we are working with community members and members of child rights networks to be able to push it. We are targeting that by the end of this year, we would have concluded on one, child protection policy, and two, another bill that will completely help us to ban issues of child labor in the counties where we work.
This holistic approach of addressing challenges in the agriculture sector is instrumental in turning around how communities in this region engage. But why the interest to support policy and advocacy by the Dutch government?
ICCO is part of a larger program which is called Dialogue and Dissent. And this Dialogue and Dissent is a new way of working between the Dutch government and civil society in Kenya, among other countries. There's 25 partnerships like this, of which 17 take place in Kenya. And this program that we're talking about today is specifically ICCO in Kenya. The Dutch government used to finance civil society throughout the years, but on a different level. We would implement projects, provide services, but also do lobby and advocacy. This new program called Dialogue and Dissent has two purposes. One is supporting and strengthening civil society, local civil society, to basically hold governments, private sector and even ourselves accountable for the promises they make. And secondly, to influence policy from a local level.
As farmers like Mary and processors like Munami work towards increased productivity, improved disposable incomes, and increasing access to nutritious foods, advocacy interventions within the agriculture sector from a county level must be undertaken. Find out more about the Civic Engagement Alliance and our advocacy work from our website.